a good one for me. Okay, so I'm
Yeah,
going
I have
to,
started the recording, and I think we're good from here.
yeah, I'm going to just take out my audio and video, so I'll be sitting around as a box. You know, so the machine will be around, but I won't be in hearing or anything. Bill, do you, either one of you, do you have, it would be Billy actually, who would, do you have my cell phone number?
I actually don't think I have it especially handy at this point.
Let me give it to you.
Why don't you send it in a chat straight to my tile?
You need to write it down. Because if the meeting crashes, the chat will be gone.
I can clip it out of there. That's the easiest thing to do. I can just clip it out of there now.
Okay, I'll put it in the chat. But you need to take it out now rather than later.
No, I can get it. Yeah.
Light up here sucks.
Have any of you been tracking clean fuels legislation? Low carbon fuel standard?
Okay. Actually, for folks, for a minute, let me do the logistical stuff here because it's a mess. Okay, so there's my cell phone number. You can try calling it. It may or may not be able to answer. If it can't, text it, because I can get texts here better than I can get phone calls. Feel free to try the phone call, but if that doesn't work, text me your phone number and I'll call you back. Anyway, life is a little bizarre right now, but anyway, that's my cell. You can try text or call as needed. Anyway, have fun. Hopefully it'll be an interesting meeting.
Yeah. Thank you, Ed.
Yeah, you're welcome. Bye.
That's a good question. I don't know the details of the clean fuels bill. I think it also has passed either the House or the Senate, or
yeah, it passed the House. It's the last few years basically it gets held up in the Senate due to the chair of the Senate Transportation Committee, Steve Hobbs.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's no fan of clean fuels legislation because he basically sees it as competition for a transportation bill he wants to get passed, and he sees it as basically killing the opportunity to raise the gas tax in order to extend, do the Washington share of the I-5 bridge across the Columbia, and then also in his district, that section of Highway 2 viaduct coming off I-5 there. So
yeah, I've spoken with Steve a number of times. I'm a teacher, and he's been to my class too. He's between a rock and a hard place because the funds from the gas tax just keep going further and further down, and at some point, I know they're kind of fearful of wanting to go to the pay by the mile, but I don't see any other way that they're going to maintain revenue.
Yeah, it's the only way to do it for the future. It's the only way to have a more equitable. Oregon's actually piloting that through their clean fuels legislation, and gosh, they passed that. I think them and California and BC all passed clean fuels in 2010. Don't quote me on that, but yeah, it's like that's been part of what funded the Eevee work that I've done. And basically, I was interviewing a bunch of my colleagues in Oregon that have been funded off of clean fuels legislation, right, at utilities. And they've done incredible things. And for like a utility like Emerald PD, that they're kind of the donut around the Eugene area, they're getting about $250,000 a year to do electric vehicle programs. But there's no way they could have money to play at that scale, right? And so they've been able to do a lot of really innovative stuff. Everybody just thinks about charging, but they've been able to do so much more. And Mid-State Electric, they're south of Bend in that pretty rural area on their way to Klamath Falls. They've been getting between $30,000 to $50,000 a year. And so they're able to go after and help like low-income housing areas and do some, like, think about having EV car shares so folks at a low-income housing area could go to the doctor. They basically check out a car for a few hours a day to go to the doctor or the grocery store, which is amazing, right? Like, that's what we should be doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're kind of stuck in the past here in Washington.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you'd be able to facilitate a conversation. I'm sure he's really busy during session. But I'm pretty familiar with clean fuels and the concerns and what's a good way to put this? I get the pickle that he's stuck in.
Hmm.
And, you know, the previous years, like this was a priority for Inslee, and then you had a whole bunch of logging trucks show up at the Capitol to protest this and keep it from passing. But, you know, one of the big concerns is like, hey, it's going to raise gas prices and hurt low to moderate income folks. And that hasn't been the case in Oregon. Like we have a great example next door to us, and I'd be happy to connect them with some folks that have done on the ground work that are benefiting, especially rural communities that are kind of left out of electrification efforts, right? So
Yeah. So I could probably send you a message through Facebook from the SEV Facebook page.
gosh, I haven't used Facebook in like 8 years from now
Oh, okay.
or something, but I can send you my email address or something.
Okay.
Hey, Grace.
It's been a crazy year teaching online to students, and we're always reinventing stuff. So been a lot of weeks where it's been 7 days in a row and evenings, and so I haven't had the time to follow up on why Mr. Hobbs hasn't offered me 15 minutes of his time, but I think I can find some minutes to kind of give that another shot and to work with you on that meeting if I get the chance. That would be pretty nice.
Yeah, no, that'd be awesome. Grace, do you track this really closely. Do you have some things to add there?
I came in the middle of the conversation and I didn't hear what legislation you're talking about.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Fill me in first.
Yeah. So we were talking about low carbon fuel standard, clean fuels legislation, and Bill knows Senator Hobbs, and who's been the one who's been pretty vocally against this and has basically held it up in committee in the last few sessions, and is basically the main roadblock to this passing. And I think for other political reasons of priorities he wants to see get done, he sees this as basically a barricade to that. Please fill me in if you have different views. But yeah, that was a bit of what we discussed. And then I talked about, I've been interviewing a lot of my colleagues in Oregon over the past couple months here, and then working with Leah Climate Solutions on advocacy here, clean fuels, and just looking at all the on the ground benefits that this has had in the electric vehicle space, and especially for low to moderate income residents, that utilities can do amazing things to help their customers and basically help people save money and grow electric vehicle programs in rural areas that just get left behind usually.
So this is Philip. I got a couple suggested conversations either before the meeting starts or after or whatever. I've been looking online for electric taxis around the world. There don't seem to be too many of them. And of course, the early adopters are always complaining about this or that. I gather there have been a few Tesla Model 3s in New York, and I haven't really heard of many others. And so that's a subject we could throw out there.
Norway is actually using inductive charging for some of their taxis, waiting at the airport queue and downtowns and stuff. Yeah, that'd be interesting to talk about.
Yeah, and then in Holland at their airport, they had some trouble apparently with synchronizing the GPS mileage records with the Tesla mileage records. Apparently they have to match or something. Not hearing anybody on the other side. Keep
Don't know
reading.
about that, Phil. Good evening, y'all. From Los Angeles, where I am working on the next ePro Maxwell electrified ProMaster van.
Good to see you, Jay.
Looks like the people are working on it with you and back in that room that you're sitting in.
Yes, this is a former Dodge dealership, a 3-story garage. And we got activity going on at least 18 hours a day.
It sounds kind of cool. Is it all ProMaster stuff?
Well, also airport shuttle bus maintenance.
Huh.
So that also
I see.
shuttles going on around here, and we're in the flight path for LAX, so you will hear some noise behind me from time to time.
Well, your convertible's been getting really good mileage. It hasn't gone anywhere since the last time it came out of the garage.
Phil is babysitting my Carmen Ghia, for those who wonder
Yeah.
what he's referring to.
For those who wonder what's going on. Still a beautiful car, though, Jay, I have to say. You know how long you're going to be in LA, roughly? Another couple of weeks?
I'll be back late Friday night.
Okay. Grace has been doing a really good job, I've noticed, with kind of policy and legislative updates. I want to congratulate her for all that work.
Yes, much appreciated on that.
Well, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of bills in play right now, and I could give more frequent updates, but I'm afraid people will get overloaded if I do something more than once a month or once a week. So I've been kind of limiting it to that. Does that seem reasonable?
Oh, yeah, I agree. I mean, it's always, they say it's like seeing sausage being made, and I think that's really true. But
Other than any particular calls to action, yeah. I've been working on the delete button a bunch, and I am taking a Facebook break and trying to remove myself from as many lists as possible, because the email's just gotten even crazy for the past year with everybody stuck behind their screens.
Hi, Charlie.
Hello, Charlie. You bring us to a dozen.
Hello, I was on mute. Hey, before the meeting starts, I was wondering, you know, the SEVA Google Mail site? I've joined it. I joined it quite a while ago, but I'm not able to post to it. It says I'm not a member or authorized to post, and I submitted a request, but I've never gotten anyone to grant me access to the site.
Webmistress Deb said she was working on it. I believe that was yesterday, wasn't it, Grace?
Oh, that was the SEVA board Google site. I'm talking about just the general SEVA, email site. So I can read the email, but I can't post replies.
Okay, those are still going through our City of Seattle staff friend, former board member, and name of.
Yeah, I had no idea who to contact.
is it Mark Schiller's doing it or no?
Yes, Mr. Schiller.
Mr. Schiller, Mark Schiller. Does Rich Fulcher have authority to do that as well? I see his name come up about these things sometimes.
That's
Ryan, you mean?
Ryan. No, he doesn't. I don't think. Oh, maybe he does.
Yeah, I see Deb Seymour talking to him about stuff like this occasionally.
Well, I'm sorry for eating in your face, but this is dinner, and unless we get another pizza at 2 a.m. or so, but that's how you build vans in a chop shop in LA.
Stainless pizza.
Ooh.
Okay, I I'm just not sure if the structural strength of the pizza is really going to get a van out of it.
Mhm.
Builds muscles, keeps us awake. High fat diet, lots of energy.
So Jay, do you hear any complaints about people in LA not having enough places to charge when they're driving around?
No, though I'm not, I have not made any effort to outreach to the local driver community at all, or ventured beyond these hallowed walls yet.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go back on mute. That's my bit, but I'll still be listening in and lurking on the phone here.
Our site is shared with a rather seedy Avis car rental outlet, and they have at least a dozen bolts in the lot.
Hmm.
So you mean if they were less seedy, that would be Model S's?
I'm sorry, we're in Inglewood, close to Lawndale, and on my way to my motel, I pass a huge dormant shopping mall, completely shut down.
Wow.
Stone's throw from SpaceX and Hawthorne.
Hmm.
But if you want you want to rent some rims or get some upholstery or any automotive service beyond your imagination, this is the hood to be in.
Hmm.
Sarah Schiller, would that be related to Mark?
Yes, it would.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah.
Are you still seeing the request to join the SEVA list? Charlie has had some trouble doing that.
You know, unfortunately, they don't, we don't get notified when people are requesting access. So it's kind of whenever we log in, basically. I haven't been doing it much lately, personally, but yeah. I'll check, I can check tonight.
Thanks. I've had a request in for
Thank you much.
a couple months.
Couple months, what?
Yeah.
Wait, this is to join the SEVA email list?
Yeah, well, to be able to post to it. I can read it, but I can't post anything to it. It says I'm not a member.
Huh. I would have, well, I know I did it in the past, like month or so, I'm pretty sure. What's your email address?
c4psi@yahoo.com.
How do you, TSAI or?
Yeah,
Sorry, what was the last part of it? TSAI?
c4psi@yahoo.com.
Oh, C4.
Yeah, C, the number 4, and then TSAI.
Okay, got it. All right, I'll,
Sounds pretty explosive.
yeah, kind of. I'll see if you're on the list there, but yeah. Jay, looks like you're in the shop.
Not just any shop, but as what I will announce, headquarters for Maxwell Vehicles. I'm sitting here by a stack of salvage Model 3 batteries, waiting to go into vans.
Okay, cool.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Grace.
Hi. I was just going to ask real quickly. Long time no see. Good to see you.
Yeah.
If you are still keeping track of the membership, we
Yeah.
have had some recent, just brief discussions about membership and what we should, how we should be handling it. Are
Yeah.
you prepared to give a brief report about what membership looks like right now and if we should start hitting people up to do renewals, because we haven't really done that for a long time. So maybe we can have a little discussion. Jay, does that sound okay?
Yeah, I have been seeing renewals rolling across several a week. It's refreshing.
Oh, that's great. Wow, let's get an update then. Thanks.
So do you want me to give an update? Is that what you just asked?
Jay asks you to, then that might be helpful.
Grace would love to see an
Okay,
update.
well,
What are your abilities at this last minute?
Well, let me, I need to run, I'll have to run the report. I mean, let me see when the last time, I think I sent it at the beginning of the year, I want to say, but let me just see. And of course, it's not there.
Welcome, Miss Wonderland. Your name rings a bell, but I'm not associating it with a particular memory. Please introduce yourself when the opportunity arises.
I've attended a few meetings. Jay, you and I talked a little bit about converting my Mini. I decided to go ahead and buy a Tesla, which will be here in a couple days.
Oh, so disappointing, but a wise choice.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not done with that Mini. We'll see. But for now, I think it makes more sense for me.
Oh. Gene Darcy, how is your IMEV doing? I reluctantly passed on a collision salvage IMEV this week.
It's doing wonderfully. It meets all my needs, or as Ed Bagley says, 90% of my needs for driving around town. What I don't have is a car that can take me a distance. So I'm still driving a biodiesel VW. I have to drive to Oregon or something like that. So I'm thinking about, do I want to get a different car and just have one car instead of two? But it's a lot of money, so thinking about it.
Okay, well, the time being 7 o'clock and 18 people in the meeting, let us come to order. Is our town crier, also known as Kevin, handy?
Oyez, oyez, all people having business before this August body, please unmute yourselves. You will be heard. The Honorable Jay Donaway presiding. All rise. All set. Mr. President, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you very much, Kevin. As I mentioned to the early birds, this is a remote session for me, coming to you live from the headquarters of Maxwell Vehicles in Los Angeles, where we are converting Ram ProMasters into electric vehicles. And you'll see I'm sitting by a stack of salvaged Tesla Model 3 batteries, awaiting their second life inside cargo vans. Happy to discuss that, but this is a 18-hour-a-day shower optional kind of gig, and I'll do it for one fun-filled week, but these guys do it 52 to 54 weeks a year. They are dedicated to their cause. We'll get a legislative update from Grace. Hello, Ron. He's joining us. And Mark is off screen, frantically running a membership report to give us an update on that. And Charlie, our SEVA treasurer, is so noted on his screen, and he and I will get together in the fairly near future to hand over the books, which are very flush with funds, but we have a little bit of reporting to catch up on. So does anyone have any pressing issues they would like to add to the agenda this evening? Hearing none. Grace, would you like to give us one of your wonderful legislative updates?
Well, thank you, Jay. Let's see. Am I? Oh, good. I'm not muted. You can actually hear me, I hope. Yay. Good. There are a few things going on in Olympia. We've got a number of bills still in play, which is exciting. We could see more electric vehicle progress this year than we have in quite a while. But there's some really heavy lifting stuff that's happening. So it's going to take a lot of involvement by people. And so I'm hoping people aren't burned out yet and are willing to, help push through. We've got another month of the session before it ends. And so we're hoping that we can actually make some progress. The most urgent thing coming up is this week. Tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., it's going to be the first hearing in the Senate on Substitute House Bill 1091, which is the low carbon fuel standard. And that's pretty exciting that we're actually making progress on that. California's had it. We should be getting it so that it can really help push the adoption of alternative fuels and particularly electric vehicles. I need the light, excuse me. You have to get your own light. Sorry about that. So one of the things that was amended as it went through the House committees was that this bill does put a price on greenhouse gas emissions, and all of the funds that would be raised by that would 50% of that now would go to be used for a clean fuel rewards program. And that should be providing a price reduction on new electric vehicle purchases or leases too. Which is very exciting because, as you know, the tax credit that we have had from the federal government is not available to everybody. Only if you are able to claim the tax credit on your federal income taxes, then you'll be able to get a refund. But for those people who aren't able to do it, then they can't take advantage of it. But this would be when you buy the vehicle. And so it would be right away. That would be a great incentive for people. So I'm really excited about that. It is now, but it was approved in the House. It wasn't that big a vote though. I think it was 54 to 46, I think, something like that. But now it's gone over to the Senate. Its first stop is the Senate Environment, Energy, and Technology Committee. And that is chaired by Senator Hobbs, who has some really strong concerns about that. And he's been opposed. And even if there's a hearing, we're not sure it'd even be brought up for a vote at this point. So it's really going to take a big push to get there. I think that John Jantz Bill Truitt knows more about that. Yeah, but you've been in contact with Senator Hobbs. So can you fill us in a little bit about what your feeling is, what your discussions have been?
Well, I've known him for a number of years, and I was a former chairperson of the 44th Legislative District. So we've had a lot of conversations so far this year, and because of my job, I've been pretty busy and I haven't persisted. But so far, my requests for some time with him have been not necessarily rejected, but they haven't been followed through. So I'm going to try and follow up tomorrow on that and look for some support that John has offered and see if we can't go in guns blazing and trying to give him some information ammo so that it'll be an easy decision for him. But yeah, he's sometimes a little bit difficult, with certain decisions. He lives in the more conservative area of our 44th district, which is Marysville, Lake Stevens area. So he tends to be a little bit, definitely one of the more conservative Democrats in the Senate for sure.
Bill, do you know much about what his major objections are? What should we be hitting on when we're trying to reach out to him and get him on board with us?
Okay, I would think that people would be complaining about, any additional costs, especially to lower middle income, something that was addressed already. So he's got to see benefits in that area.
How much money does this bill propose to put on the hood? On the
I
hood of the
don't
car
have
for
the
an
physical
example.
note on it, so I don't know exactly what it would be, but it's you know, things that are emitting greenhouse gases would end up paying for it. So that would be like gasoline, for instance. But because of the fact that that the House put in that provision about using it for reducing the cost of electric vehicles, then that would seem to me to be helpful for low-income people, particularly because the cost of fueling your vehicle is so much lower. And so with a lower initial cost, that would be a real benefit to people. So hopefully we can hit on that and make some progress, see if that would help. But that is coming up tomorrow. So this week would be a good time to be contacting Senator Hobbs. Bill, do you think that he would be willing to listen much to people who are not his constituents, but maybe know a lot about electric vehicles, such as, say, our group here? Is he going to be amenable to hearing some arguments on that?
I'll give it a try. I would hope that if I, give him a couple of contacts, that he would even begrudgingly give me a few minutes of his time, considering the amount of time that we've known each other. So if whoever is interested, let me know in the chat, or I'll maybe share my email and get an idea for times for you. I am teaching, and so I'm generally pretty much just available late afternoons. But if that were something, a time frame that would work for people, I'd be happy to see if we could kind of work together on that.
That sounds great, Bill. And please do make sure to use the SEVA name if that would be helpful at all, because there are some people who say, those folks have been around a long time. They know what they're talking about. So hopefully that could maybe carry a little bit of weight. That'd be good.
And yeah, I'd be happy to talk to him about this, because I think I mentioned before the meeting started that I've had the opportunity for the past, 4-ish years now, be working with utility people in Oregon who are using clean fuels money. And so I have a pretty good understanding of how the program works. I've been helping do advocacy of linking up utility folks in Oregon with utility folks in Washington. Like Snohomish PUD, for example, was neutral on the bill. So I linked them up with some counterparts in Oregon to basically become more educated about what it meant for their utility and basically how they can help their customers. And just basically the amazing opportunity this is. It's, in my mind, just from the work I've done, it's the single biggest piece of legislation that can move EVs forward in a state. So yeah, it's had great success in California and Oregon and British Columbia as well.
What's that bill number one last time?
It is 1091.
Okay, we can all submit statements in favor via the legislative website, 1091.
And I'd be happy to provide a few talking points or things like that based upon the conversations I'd had with Oregon utility folks, and basically the things they've been able to do, especially for lower to middle income customers, and helping drive affordability, and especially in rural areas where EV adoption definitely lags urban areas.
That sounds great, John. Thank you for offering to do that. That's terrific. That would be really helpful. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so it is going to take some people investing some time into pushing this, though, because otherwise there's enough opposition out there to really kill it. And we made so much progress. We want to see if we can push it through. That'd be great. And moving on, a new bill was introduced last week. This late in the session is kind of odd, but I'm guessing it will have a really good chance of getting through, because what it would do is eliminate that $75 a year transportation electrification fee for hybrid vehicles that do not plug in. So we're talking all the Priuses out there. So I'm guessing that probably will go right through. I don't believe it's been scheduled for a hearing yet, but it has gone to the House Transportation. And then a few other things are happening. We do have the two big bills that are really heavy lifts this year. One of them is House Bill 1204. That is the Clean Cars 2030 bill. That's also known as the Cultura bill, because our friend Matthew Metz has been backing that ban on gas cars by the year 2030. Now, it did get passed by the House Transportation Committee back on February 22nd. They did approve it, but they did make some changes to it. The major one is that instead of being a mandate to ban the sale of gas cars, it is now a goal. So that kind of takes some teeth out of it. But at the same time, it does set a clear policy statement that that is where we want to head. And so it puts people on notice that we got to be prepared for getting rid of gas cars in the future. So we're still pushing it, still trying to get it through. It has now been referred to the House Rules Committee, where it has not come up before House Rules yet. We hope that that will happen maybe later this week or next week. But if we can get it moved through House Rules, then it will go to the full House for a vote and then be able to go over to the Senate. So our goal is to make sure to get it through the House. If it does get through the House, then it has a much better chance of actually passing and getting somewhere this session. I think this is the second year we've had it. And so sometimes a big bill like this is going to take a few years to actually get through. But it's looking like we've got some good momentum now. So hopefully that will actually make some progress. The other one that is kind of stalled at this point, unfortunately, is House Bill 1388, which is the one that, well, we're calling it the Rivian bill this year. It used to be the Tesla bill. It would allow direct sales by vehicle manufacturers that make only zero emission vehicles. So that's going to be people like Rivian and Lordstown and Lucid and Arcimoto and folks like that. Right now, it has been referred to the House Consumer Protection and Business Committee. It had its hearing on February 10th, but it has not actually been passed through that committee yet. So at this point, in order to make sure it goes somewhere, we need to make sure that the chair of that committee hears that people want this to get moving. I don't remember who the chair is right now. Does anybody happen to know that one? I have to go look it up. I'll put it in the chat. I'll find that out and let you know. And then there are a couple other bills that are actually making some progress too. House Bill 1287 is the Mapping EV Charging Infrastructure bill. And that one actually was got passed out of the full House. So it's the second bill that we've seen that has actually completed its journey through the House and it got sent to the Senate. It's in the Environment, Energy, and Technology Committee there right now. And then Senate Bill 5000 has actually been passed out of the Senate. And that is the one that creates the sales tax exemption for hydrogen fuel cell vehicles. So I know some people are really anxious to see that go somewhere. It actually passed on a 49-0 vote out of the Senate. So it's now gone to the House Finance Committee and don't have a hearing scheduled yet, but we'll see what happens there and see if that is actually going to make progress this year. It's looking like it has good momentum. So those are the major things that are happening right now. Does anybody have any questions or things to add?
Chris, does the Cultura bill is, so my understanding, so our Attorney General had some questions on the early revision, and that may be why that revision took place, that it's more defensible in court rather than having an all-out ban. Is that your understanding?
Yes, that's correct. And I'm not sure the Attorney General's office really understood where this bill was coming from. And I can say that because I know Bob. So I'm thinking that he might be really stuck on the Clean Air Act, which this bill was written to try to avoid any conflicts with the Clean Air Act. As you know, the Clean Air Act gives California some exemptions and allows them to go their own direction. And as long as we don't do anything that goes beyond what California has done, then that's okay. However, California at this point is looking at banning gas cars in 2035, not 2030. And so I think that's what the Attorney General's main concerns were. However, the bill that we're doing is not addressing the Clean Air Act. It doesn't mention it at all. It talks about climate change, it talks about water quality, and it talks about economics. It talks about a number of things that actually don't focus on the Clean Air Act. So the fact is, we hope that that would avoid that issue, but because of the fact that the Attorney General brought it up, that may be one of the reasons that they were willing to accept some amendments to it. So yeah. Thanks for asking that, though. There's been a lot of confusion on that.
Yeah, no, thanks. That's a great explanation. Real quick comment. It's not totally direct. It's sort of related to the mapping bill, but not really. Is Washington Commerce Department is really interested in working with utilities to basically push electric vehicles. The state of Washington created this plan, and instead of doing what a lot of states do, where they make some adoption, they use like Bloomberg's adoption curve on EVs, which in my opinion is like woefully inadequate to what the market's actually going to do. They were like, okay, well, to meet our climate goals, what adoption do we need to have for electric vehicles, and then how do we get there? So they're looking to actually work with utilities like they do on the energy efficiency side on buildings and stuff, to dig in and actually do some work to help utilities make that happen.
Good news. That's great. Yeah.
On the Rivian bill, Steve Conway, the chair of Consumer Protection, is a Lakewood Democrat. I don't see anybody from Lakewood on the screen as far as I know. And any contacts there?
Which Lakewood, Snohomish County or Pierce?
The only one by the lake, Pierce County.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. My sister lives there.
Oh.
Excellent. Close to Stillicum, where our friend Dick Murray is, who,
Yeah.
by the way, Dick Murray, former Republican Eevee friend in the House, is about to be appointed mayor of Stillicum. He was going to run for it, but the mayor is retiring early due to a terminal cancer diagnosis. So Dick Murray is ready to shake things up with a city fleet.
Cool.
Okay, well, if anybody else has any comments or questions, you can make sure to put them in the chat, but I will just be continuing to send out updates and calls to action. So there's definitely some things that we could still use some help on right now. Jay, back to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Grace. Very thorough as usual. Ms. Ramsdell, are there any updates from the Tesla Society?
Yes, there's always the joy of the wonderful Tesla Engagement Hub. So yes, because we've got this new, it's hard to tell. It's not a social media thing. It's not a forums thing. It's not a politics or legislative thing like everybody else, like Electrek is trying to tell everybody that it is. It's a new way to connect Tesla owners to clubs. So, and the program itself is still is in its infancy because there's still lots of bugs that we keep having with it, just trying to grade our pages on there. And not all 171 plus clubs are officially on it yet either. So people are signing up, trying to figure out, well, it doesn't say that there's a club in my state or my country or whatever, so where do I go? So yeah, so that's been a big, huge hubbub right at the moment. So yeah, so we're kind of still sorting that all out, because when people log in and apply to be a member on the Engagement Hub, it doesn't actually go to our club's official website to actually pay your membership. So that's where us club presidents are having fun with this hub. So yeah, so it's just kind of a way to connect owners to their local clubs and become official members. So, and it's not replacing forums. Forums is just being shut down. And then at the end of the year, forums is just going away altogether, because the department that was working on maintaining the forums doesn't want to do it anymore because there's nobody to moderate it anymore. So yeah, so there's no more commenting at the end of March, and then at the end of the year, the whole portals gets shut down. And there's nothing to replace it.
Well, thanks for that synopsis of the big hubbub over the hub
The
flub
hub.
and the forum snub.
Exactly. So yes, so there you go.
I'll call out Corey Sy. Any news from Rad Power Bikes, who's been producing record-breaking quantities of electric bicycles for the past year?
No news yet. We just have a fun metric that came about recently. We've just hit our 100th new hire in the year of 2021. So that's not 100 employees total. We've added 100 to the team this year, which puts us somewhere up over 325 was, I think, last time I had heard, and that was a couple months ago. So obviously we're still growing pretty rapidly.
Wow, that's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been fun.
Okay. Any news for the good of the order from any corner of the order? No, there's 25 people on the screen. Certainly
Well,
someone has an update.
Okay, this is Paul Colley. I'm not
Hey,
sharing
Paul.
video, but on a completely different subject, I was asked to come up with some links for people to look at for electric vehicles. And this was for a group down in Eugene, Oregon. And I happened to hit the Emerald Valley EVA website and realized that apparently they have monthly Zoom meetings for newbies. It's kind of like Electric Vehicle 101 for anybody that's interested in electric vehicles. And since we're not meeting up and doing the drive events, I was just sort of curious if anybody'd be interested in doing that up in Seattle.
Tacoma Power does such events online. I presented in person for several years. I haven't checked on their status, but those could be an excellent addition. Just a link on the SEVA website, because the newbies are still there and will be there for a long time. And though it may sound to us like the questions are the same, they're very legitimate nonetheless. So good point, Paul. Also, we have invitations for speakers that I have not had the time to respond to, such as Rotary clubs, since they are going in, virtually right now. They're hard up for speakers. So if anyone would like to volunteer, please send Grace and I a PM.
Yeah, Jay, could you forward those to me? Yeah, because I would love to follow up and make sure that we have somebody from our group who can address those. Absolutely. Yeah.
Great. Look for a link to the Federal Way Rotary, I believe it was, coming up.
Oh, great. Good. Okay. Good.
Just need to remember they're not as obsolete as a rotary dial phone, although the thought did cross my mind. Yeah. If we're still taking good of the order, Jay, I wonder if Theo is actually by a station there, and could say if there will be another episode of the podcast anytime that can be forecasted.
Sorry, chewing. Not currently forecasted, but so it was Teresa and I were doing it, and Teresa moved back to Austria. And I think just like life has taken over, and then I got a real job, so life took over here as well. But I think this summer there'll be another episode, and maybe I can put it out to y'all to help choose the topic.
Yeah, it was. I'm sorry, what was her name again? Who is has gone back to Austria?
Teresa.
Yeah, she originated the podcast, didn't she?
Yep.
Yeah. Will she be doing future episodes when you do resume?
I think probably not. Like what I would probably do is, we haven't talked to her, and I'd probably reach out to her and say, like, thinking about doing one. Is it okay if I, would you like to do it, or is it okay if I do it solo? It's unfortunate, but yeah, life gets in the way.
Okay, thanks for that update. And You may recall Jabron Solbay, who presented about his Ford Ranger EV project. He has continued to be a great resource and helped out 2 other Ranger EV owners with dead trucks in the past month. So Rangers are getting resurrected right and left. And I'll be bringing the vehicle that we're working on is scheduled for its first revenue service in the first week of April. It's a Pleasure Way Tofino, if you care to look that up, but that's a Class B luxury motorhome that will be the first long-range DC fast-charging recreational vehicle that I'm aware of in the United States. Wow. It'll pull 150 kilowatts on Electrify America CCS stations. 175 miles of range from a 75 kilowatt hour battery pack. That's all I got to say about that.
Hey, Jay, we haven't talked about events for a while because we haven't been able to do events thanks to our little pandemic that's going on. It looks like things are looking up, and perhaps there's a possibility that may open up enough to be able to do some events by summer. So I'm hoping people will be thinking about what might be available, what we might want to do. I know I have been getting updates and requests from the Drive Electric Earth Day folks who are wanting people to schedule events during Earth Day, and if you are not able to do in-person events, that maybe you can do something virtually. Does anybody here have an interest in maybe putting something together? I don't think that we're going to want to do something even outdoors by next month yet. I don't think it's public gatherings are going to be allowed yet. But if maybe we wanted to do something like Eevee's 101 Zoom meeting, for instance, then that might be a way to kind of celebrate Earth Day and how we are helping out the environment and the climate. Does anybody have an interest in doing something for that?
I think it would be worthwhile if we can assemble a critical mass of newbies from the utilities or other. Puget Sound Energy did not join in this evening. They've been wanting to give us an update on their programs, but they have been stepping up the outreach. Ironically, I've picked up some good deals on secondhand EVSEs recently from Craigslisters because they got a free one from PSE. Not exactly the intent of the program, but that's how these things work.
Oh, and I have a new contact at Seattle City Light. Their new EV engagement person is somebody that I know from the EV world, Angela Song. And so she might be somebody who would be able to be involved as well. So getting City Light involved would be great.
Excellent.
Yeah, no, I just
has had quite an exodus recently. Any intel?
How about Philip Skoog, are you still on this call by any chance? Darn, I think we lost him. He did mention something to me a couple of days ago that he was looking at the possibility of doing something in May at the XXX in Issaquah. When we used to do shows a year there, but we didn't do any last year. Did you hear any? Oh,
yeah,
Philip,
I'm back on it. They have a tentative schedule, and they've given us the date of May 2nd, but whether it's actually a cruise-in or an actual car show, we don't know. We could certainly do a cruise-in. That's allowed now. You know, go in, order a meal, and sit around for a few minutes, and then go somewhere else. Wouldn't have the same effect as a car show. They're not having any permanent car shows yet. They're not promising that yet. But May 2nd is the date if it does happen.
Okay. Well, will you please keep us informed about that? Because I'm sure that some folks here would love to get out in their cars and, you know, gather for just a little powwow at least. something to get us out outside would be wonderful. So let's see if we can work toward that if possible. Thanks. Terrific.
Yeah, we're gonna have to give everybody sunscreen because they're gonna come out looking like one of those rock groups with the white face, you know.
We've all been indoors for so long. It's true. You're right.
Right, yeah.
Many have been indoors. This is quite a bipolar pandemic. You know, I just flew for the first time in a year, yes, but I've put more miles on my car in the past year than most previous years combined. And there's just a lot of change going on.
Right.
Oh, that's totally the opposite for the Chevy Volt, which for the first time ever in both either the Generation 1 or Generation 2, it went into fuel maintenance mode. Because Jay, I bought a couple of gallons of gas to get to Bainbridge Island last July and never drove outside the electric range of the car again after that. So the fuel got aged. Now it's turned into a Prius until I add more gasoline. I think the Washington State EV punishment tax planners would probably love me at this point.
Indeed. Okay, well,
How about, has anybody heard anything about Greenwood this summer? Has it been canceled? Is it on hold? Any news at all?
I haven't seen any email even, I don't believe.
Okay, well, it's still, 3 months off, but at this point, I would guess they'd be planning it if it was happening. So.
Also, Grace, my wife Judy, who is just barely off camera here, was asking, what is the name of the Eevee engagement person at City Light?
Yeah, really curious.
Exactly. Her name is Angela Song, S-O-N-G.
She's recently a Puget Sound Clean
She
Air
just started. Yeah.
Yeah, she'll be a great person there.
Yeah. If you know Angela, she'll be wonderful. Yeah. Yeah, I just heard that from the folks at Drive Electric Washington. As you know, that's kind of an umbrella group that represents a number of clubs and agencies around the state. And we had a meeting on Friday. We're looking at putting together a statewide newsletter and want to make sure that it includes a lot of resources so that people can, connect with other folks across the state too. I've started putting together a list of the resources I'm aware of and clubs, but I'm hoping that maybe all of you folks here might be able to help fill in some missing pieces and holes. Would anybody be interested in helping with that? I'll just tell you what I have now, and then if you can tell me what I'm missing and I can kind of follow up on that, that'd be terrific. In addition to the Seattle Electric Vehicle Association, I am aware of other clubs, including the Tacoma Electric Vehicle Association, Northwest Owners. Yes, Jay?
Tacoma EVA is dead.
Oh, it is. Okay, they still have a Facebook page.
Static should be dead. Dick Murray's Pierce County Electric Vehicle Interest Facebook group is the only active thing.
Oh, okay. I don't have that. So Pierce County
Electric Vehicle Interest Group, I believe it's called. Dick Murray is the sponsor.
Oh, right. Okay. Thank you. And then there's the Northwest Tesla Owners. I know that one. Seattle Nissan Leaf Owners has a Facebook page. Seattle Tesla Model 3 Owners has a Facebook page, and Seattle Tesla Model Y Owners has a Facebook page too. Do we know of any other social media groups that we'd want to make sure are included in there, or pages? No.
You could mention Fourth, Grace, for, I know they're not directly in Washington, but they do a lot of.
Absolutely. That was going to be my next thing, is websites. I want to make sure Fourth is on there, Fourth Mobility. Also SEVA, Plug in America, Electric Auto Association. I figured PlugShare should probably be there too, since that's a nonprofit and is user supported. The National Drive Electric Week folks and the National Drive Electric Earth Day website as well. And then the Mid-Columbia EAA also has a website. Anybody
Do
else
you-
I should be catching? What's
Do,
the
do
north?
you want any of the other ones in the rest of the state?
Yes, that's what I'm looking for.
So yes, because we also have Spokane Coeur d'Alene, Tesla owners Facebook group,
Oh, yes.
and there's also England, Washington Facebook group. Let me get the name of that one.
Okay.
Inland Northwest
Oh, yeah, Inland Northwest.
Tesla owners group. Yep,
They have a Facebook page?
they do. Yep.
Right.
And there's also PNW Teslas.
Right.
PNW Tesla. Yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the other ones that I know of.
Yeah, I want to make sure to try to catch everybody in there, but I don't know everybody. So anything else that you can think of, any social media sites or websites or things like that of people who are going to help consumers, help people be able to learn about and convert to electric vehicles. That's what we're looking for, but not commercial stuff.
Does anyone know the North Central Washington Eevee group? I actually don't know them. I just know they exist.
Yeah, I don't know if they're active still, but I would love to know if there's a contact there.
Okay.
I had a couple of contacts. I believe Phil was in contact with them as well. I can check with those. And while we're talking about clubs and networking, want to apologize for any who received spam from my Facebook account. I used to think that only happened to clueless people who don't manage their internet security, but Facebook has failed me twice and I am off of it. So I'm on the anti-social media bandwagon now. So good luck.
Did you get the Central Washington group, the student group over there?
Not familiar with.
No, I don't have that, but I'm not sure if they have a Facebook page or a website. Do you know?
They do have a Facebook page.
They do.
That's basically how I know of them. I could look it up and send it to you.
Perfect. Yeah, if you have a name for it, that would be really terrific.
Mhm.
Because I searched and I wasn't able to find them, so I must be using the wrong name, something like that.
It does seem like it's getting to the point where electric vehicle owners are separated by fast charging standards. You know, Chatamo people don't talk to CSS people, and Tesla people don't talk to the rest of us.
Yeah, I think that's changing because of the Electrify America stations that are going in now that have both standards. So
Yeah, the Central Washington one is Central Washington University Electric Vehicle Club.
Ah, thank you, Teresa.
Yep.
Perfect.
Grace, maybe you mentioned it, but was one of those Central Washington groups you mentioned related to what Jenny Harper does down in Richland?
No, she is with an organization called Northwest or Energy Northwest. Yeah.
But I think she's also involved in some.
Yeah, she's involved with Mid-Columbia Electric Auto Association.
Okay, that's gotcha. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Right. Thank you for making sure that they were there, though. Good. I'm not too sure about the Northwest Washington group, too, that Tyrell has been involved with. Does anybody know if that's still active or if they're doing anything?
It dissolved and they donated their treasury to SEVA.
Oh,
back. Yeah.
I forgot that. Well, okay, good. We'll try to represent them then. Cool. Thanks, everybody, for your input. I will be sending out notice to everybody on our list about this newsletter once it's ready. And if you want to receive it once a month, then make sure to let us know and we'll put you on the mailing list.
Okay. And Grace, too, there's also Seattle Nissan Leaf Owners Facebook group.
Oh, yes, I have that. You bet.
Okay. And the Seattle Chevy Bolt Owners Facebook group.
I do not have that. Is there one?
Okay. Yep.
Right.
Yeah, Brian Henderson's actually a member of that one.
Oh, excellent. Thank you.
Mhm.
That's very
Yep.
helpful.
Is there maybe you already mentioned this, just my ears are like, is there a San Juan Islands group? I thought I met a guy from one of those groups.
There certainly was at one point, at least.
Yes, Ryan of the San Juan's Conservation District was heading that up. Ryan Palmatier.
Thank you. I will follow up with him and find out if they are still active too. That's a great idea.
Yeah, they, I believe they've been active. I looped him in on Island Rides, who's the nonprofit that I sent a solicitation out on behalf of several weeks ago. They're still looking to add another EV to their nonprofit senior and low-income transportation service that has continued through COVID with one mass driver and passengers of only one family at a time. And they're also delivering meds to homebound seniors using 2 donated electric vehicles with volunteer drivers. So that's a nice little project that's going on Orcas and San Juan Island.
Yeah, we want to make sure people know about that. Thank you. I will see what I can find out. Cool. I knew you guys would come up with all these great ideas. Thank you.
All right, well, we are at 7:45, half of our normal meeting time, but had the feeling it was going to be a quick one. Ann Wonderland had a question about a co-op for EV charging at the parking lot for a group of floating homes. I'm aware of using a card lock or a keypad for limited access free charging. I'm not aware of a payment-based system that doesn't involve a third party taking a share of it, such as ChargePoint or SEMA Connect or one of those other fee-based networks. Anyone else?
Jay, this is Ann. Are you saying that the things that you propose are simply give access to those who are allowed to have access, but it doesn't track your charging and then charge you accordingly?
Right, somebody could add a back end to it, but for instance, Clipper Creek has long avoided getting on a fee-based system, but they do offer an old-fashioned touch-tone keypad. Just like the gate to the complex, you can put in your code and turn on the charging station. And that could be linked to a billing database, but it's not the normal use of it.
Got you. Okay, so we have to decide if it's worth whatever that organization would take rather than just say splitting the total bill among all of us.
And I think you'd be better off splitting the total bill. The fee-based charging stations are still amazingly expensive, $4,000 to $5,000 a pedestal, versus, you know, you can get a good one for $450 to $1,000 if it's not on a fee-based network.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
By the way, I've got 2 Clipper Creek 40s available at a very reasonable price to anyone who's interested. Private message me after the meeting.
Yeah, I've seen that key activated Clipper Creek at one of the hotels up in Alderwood Mall area. And the advantage of that is it's really intended for hotel guests. And they'll let you charge if you go in and talk to the desk, but that gives them some control over those couple of parking spots.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, I'm not seeing any other subjects, but Mark has raised his hand. Does Mark have a membership report?
Yeah, I do.
Please take the floor.
I won't list the members, but in the past year's period, we have 20 active members, paid members, I should say, for a total of about $810.
We need to get back in here for
in past years. Yeah, in past years, it's been closer to the paying members, but we haven't, frankly, SEVA message very much lately. So might be worthwhile sending out a reminder notice, something. We have done that in the past.
Are you still sending out emails when the dues run out?
Yeah. So, I mean, I have all the old previous members, which we can send it to, but we could also send out an email to the SEVA list if we wanted.
Okay. 'Cause
Something like
I
that.
forgot what month I am. I'm sure I'm not the only one who forgot when their anniversary date is.
Yeah, EAA still sends an automated message when it's renewal time, but it's easy to overlook and then they stop.
Yeah. Well, we can talk about that offline, but
Well, actually, is there, I mean, I have no idea whether my dues are current. Is there any place that you can look that up?
the what?
Or if I have to ask that question, the answer is obvious?
Who was that, Paul?
Yeah, Paul Carling.
Let's see if you're on the list here. No.
Oh, okay, so where do
Well,
I
you
pay?
might- That's not, actually, I'm not on the list either, I just realized.
Uh-oh.
Just FYI. So,
Is that
anyway,
list
if you haven't renewed your membership, please.
Is that list something you want to have so everybody can see, or see when the dues, the anniversary date is for the dues?
Having a hard time hearing you there.
Mark, right now, just board members have the ability to sign on and see the current membership roster. I would encourage everyone to take a fresh look at the Electric Auto Association website. It has been renewed with new content, and they send out membership reminders as well. They had a method where you could sign on and check your membership status. I haven't looked at it in a while, though.
You're still encouraging SEVA memberships though, right?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Hey, Jay,
Yes.
I had one more fun thing to share if anybody's interested. Got a message from our good friend Dave Barden last week that he has been doing something fun with his little O Sparky vehicle. As you, probably a lot of people here are familiar with Dave and Sparky. He was asked to help put together an educational YouTube video with Blippi. Is anybody here familiar with Blippi? He is does kind of like a Bill Nye for 3-year-olds, basically. He does kind of science videos and does it very much based for younger children, trying to get them engaged and excited about science concepts. And so Dave and Sparky got to do a little videotape with Blippi, and I believe it will be posted on YouTube sometime soon. They just asked permission to use SEVA's name in this video as well. So we made sure to give it to him, and he promised to let us know when that video is posted so we can see Dave become famous with Blippi.
Excellent.
Sure to Google Blippi and you'll see what the videos are like. Yeah.
That's the sort of thing that needs a prominent posting on the SEVA website. All right. Well, we are approaching 8 o'clock and we have run to the end of our agenda and then some. People are welcome to stay on the Zoom meeting and chat amongst themselves for as long as they like. But otherwise, I think it's time to declare the business meeting officially closed. Any last points? Seeing none, thank you very much. See you next month.
Thanks, Jay.
Thanks, Jay. Hey, Mark,
Craig.
how am I going to become aware if my dues are due?
Hey, Mark, yeah, you're not on the list either.
I'm not on the list. That means I'm not paid.
That's correct.
Oh, I thought it was. See, that's the problem. I thought it was like this time. I paid for it last year. Anyway, okay.
Am I paid, Mark?
Who was that?
That's
Billy?
Billy, yeah.
I think Mark, Mr. Sy and myself will need to coordinate for some dues reminders in the near future.
Oh, great idea.
Yeah, that'd probably be the best thing, just send out a reminder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, Jay, I have a question for you. When you were discussing Ann's co-ops possibilities for setting up group charging for co-op members who want to make use of that. I said that you thought the most practical approach would be to split the bill. That would just mean just take whatever the utility bill is and just divide it up, irrespective of any individual's usage.
Running the risk of the tragedy of a commons in a small enough community, I hope that would be practical. People just pay into the kitty for rights to use the charger.
Well, the commons would be tragic only for the person who doesn't use it very much, but still agreed to opt into to the arrangement in the first place.
Right, and we'll see how much they want to bicker about how many miles their neighbor drives or whether they have a plug-in hybrid versus a pure EV, et cetera, et cetera. But the cost of administering the payments is the most costly part of most of those contracts.
Yeah.
Money for the middleman is far.
I would just kind of start to wonder if how big an impact on the co-op's total electric bill is this even going to make? That it's something that couldn't just be absorbed by the homeowners association or something.
And you have stimulated vigorous discussion.
I think Anne has left the meeting.
Okay, well, she asked for some more info from me and I will be following up with her. Yeah, we're down to 17 souls now.
This will be of interest to no one, but I finally got an electric car again. I have a Leaf now, 2015. So I'm back. And I'm all the way down the Leaf Spy, watching all the YouTube videos, rabbit hole. It's good times. All the presentations people are doing, like Jay.
So you've come to a Leaf from the what dog sled you had on that Arctic virtual background you were saying?
Years ago, I had a converted Chevy Love pickup.
How many miles on it and how many health bars does it have, or what percentage of health?
It's just shy of 70,000 miles, and I bought it. I Leaf spied it before I bought it, and it showed 95%, which was clearly not true. I think the guy who I bought it from had been just topping it off constantly, which I take it both damages the battery and causes the battery to think that it's in great shape. I've driven it a few hundred miles now. It's down around 89.5% state of health. Still pretty good, but not as nice as I'd like it to be.
This fooling Leaf Spy state of health is pretty much news to me. Other than disconnecting the 12-volt battery long enough for the Leaf to lose its mind and start from scratch, I didn't think you could fool the health very much, because we receive salvage batteries that have been in storage for months. They turn on with widely varying and states of health, and I've followed them for months afterwards without seeing it change.
I forgot, I think it was a thread somewhere I read that you can, depending on your charging habits, it's not that he was intentionally trying to fool anyone, but just the charging habits fools the computer into thinking. I don't really actually know how Leaf Spy determines its state of health, but my impression was fools the onboard computer into thinking that the battery, and just not having enough information to know what the true health of the battery is, and then you reestablish that information when you deep discharge and recharge it.
Right, it'll recalibrate.
Right. So it was basically, uncalibrated by the way he was charging it for a long time.
Interesting. David Lauer has gotten really deep into the weeds on Leaf Spy recalibrations in his blog. Are you familiar with that one? David Oliwa at blogspot.com.
Oh, yes. I didn't know his last name. I've read some of his articles.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm one of the things that like got stuck in my head is, and I wanted to ask the group about is, it seems like since everyone's doing CAN bridges and in order to like shove a bigger battery into a smaller leaf and other things and fooling the leafs on their computer, it seems like it might one day be possible to build a leaf battery pack out of Tesla batteries if you really got deep into the mimicking the battery packs CAN messages. Is that something that anyone's trying to do, or it might be possible?
Well, John Beisinger, former SEVA member who moved to the East Coast to pursue his dream of a Tesla-style leaf battery, founded Phoenix Power and has created a lot of very upset depositors. I believe they are at the end of their rope, but it has been a dream. I'm not aware of any success.
Interesting. You said Phoenix Power is the name of the?
FENIX.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jay, speaking about success, how about goings on at the shop, your shop? Where you at?
We continue doing the leaf pack swaps. Leaf availability from Collision Salvage is way down in the coat during the pandemic, and that's our only source of good batteries. But I'm under an NDA with Nissan's former battery manufacturing arm, and they are willing to provide us with brand new modules, original equipment Nissan battery modules with which we could rebuild battery packs. And we are attempting to design a 40 kilowatt hour rebuild of 24 kilowatt hour packs, because you can buy the BMS through Nissan's part system. Just reflashing its memory appropriately is the challenge. It appears to be a software, not a hardware challenge, but we're also awaiting pricing on those new modules. So that is in development, because even if we got every crash 2018 Leaf that came on the market, and even if every 2018 to 2021 Leaf were to suddenly crash, there's still 3 times as many deteriorating 24 kilowatt hour Leafs out there as there are newer big battery Leafs on the road. So it'll never meet demand.
So Nissan has to step up the plate to make those, what they sell to you, inexpensive enough where you guys can make it as a business.
Nissan has given no signs of wanting to do anything other than throw their Leaf-loving CEO in jail.
Okay. All right.
And your NDA is with the battery supplier, not with Nissan?
Right. Nissan spun them off, now known as Envision AESC in Tennessee. And they are selling Leaf modules into medical equipment manufacturers who have still been using, you know, NiCad batteries and lead acid batteries for those portable medical devices. They're searching for new markets now, very quietly though, and they won't sell modules to just anybody, but we're well into their qualification process. So that's the only light on the horizon I see for Leaf owners.
Hey Jay, this is Charlie. You know, I recently installed a 30 kilowatt hour Leaf pack into my Z3.
Yeah.
And I was kind of curious in terms of form factor, the 40 kilowatt hour and now the 60 kilowatt hour modules, are they the same form factor as the 30 kilowatt hour module, or have they changed, size and shape? In particular, I'm kind of curious if the bus bars across the top would work.
Yeah. The 30 is the one I'm least familiar with. I have not touched one of those.
So a 30 is basically like the 2 24s buddy paired together.
Well, that equals the 40. There's 8 cells per module rather than 4.
Right.
40 kilowatt hour pack plus a chemistry change.
Okay, so there's like 24 modules total instead of 48.
Correct. And then when they went to the E+, they created each module large enough to fill the available space in that section of the pack. So they have, I want to say, 4 different module sizes in the 62, whereas all previous packs were all
So you're,
modules the same size.
so you're saying like the bus bars might have changed dimensions?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
but they're easy enough to make out of straight copper strap. We had a 40 kilowatt hour pack fail the high voltage interlock test in a recent swap, and I had to spend a week dissecting and troubleshooting the thing. And it was interesting. They went all the way back to 2013 on their internal fuse placement. They moved it from a socket that still exists underneath the service disconnect and buried it deep inside the pack under a black cover. And it was exciting. We thought it was a Friday afternoon pack that was just missing its fuse because the one bus bar that was bypassing the fuse was unplated copper. It was like a shop built bus bar, whereas everything else in the pack was that was more than just the tool hole bus bar was plated. But no, it was just a design change. They relocated the fuse for some reason.
So the 40 physically is the same size as the 24?
The 40 is physically the same size as the 24.
And the 60 is bigger.
The 62, besides being about 230 pounds heavier, is 1 3/4 inches taller and will decrease ground clearance of a leaf by about 1 3/4 inches.
Okay.
You said the 40 was a different chemistry. What? Yeah, how did they change the chemistry?
I can't say. Not that I won't, I just don't know.
One of the YouTube rabbit holes I went down was the range extender rabbit hole, which is kind of interesting. The European, like, you stick a battery pack in the trunk and sort of put it in, I guess, in parallel with the main pack.
Yeah.
It was funny to see how good they hit issues with the discharge curve, like fooling the computer into thinking the battery was dead when it wasn't, and depending on the chemistry that they used in the trunk.
And there are 3 significant gateway computers, CAN bridges for the leaf swap. One by Muxan in the Netherlands, one by Simon Andre, now called Nginx, which is the one we use out of Quebec, and one by Eevee's Enhanced out of New Zealand. And the Muxan gateway is used by our friends in Portland, Eevee Rides LLC. We use the Nginx Simon Andre module, and there's a shop up in Vancouver using the New Zealand module. And so if there's any significant differences, they should emerge in the fairly near future. But they all have trouble with 2011, 2012 leaves. My demonstrator car with the 40 kilowatt hour battery, which has 168,000 miles on it now. We just applied a software update last Friday that made the range scale more appropriately than since very early development when it had other problems. So we may have finally cracked the nut on 2011-12 leaf retrofits, but I want to give it a few more weeks of testing before proclaiming victory.
Hey, Jay, I may still have the BMS from the 30 kilowatt hour pack that I, disassembled if you have any need for it or use for it.
Thank you. Yeah, that'd be good to throw in the parts bin at least. We're learning about those all the time.
Okay.
Done any big towing lately, Rick?
No big towing. I've used my gas vehicle a couple times because I needed to make a round trip that wasn't going to work with the Tesla, just because of range. But no, I haven't been doing anything. Haven't been doing the mountain ski lodge thing this winter. So I haven't even made it across the pass with the Tesla this winter.
Oy vey.
But you know, all other things are good. I use the Tesla around town and that sort of thing. I've had a couple of towing things that I've been doing around town, and the Tesla works great for that. My ski lodge thing, if I can't charge at the ski lodge, I can't make the round trip if I'm towing. So if I'm not towing, Tesla works fine. If I am towing and I can charge at the ski lodge, then I'm fine. But in the winter, we can't drive all the way to the ski lodge.
What are you driving and what are you towing?
I'm driving a Tesla Model X 2020.
Okay.
And what I'm towing is a well, I have two trailers. One's a 5x8 steel utility trailer. The other is my 7.5 by 14 flatbed 4-place ATV trailer.
How much
3 to 4 ATVs.
How much weight would that? How much weight would you have on what's the maximum weight you've been carrying?
It's somewhere right around 3,200 to 3,500 pounds.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it tows it great. The range is radically shortened, and I don't trust. I use about 59% of my capacity to tow it up to the ski lodge, and it takes me at least 40% capacity to get home from the ski lodge. So I can't trust it to do the full round trip.
So what's your okay, so that's going uphill. What's that kind of round trip distance, give or take?
The distance is only 75 miles, but climbing the pass just does something, just uses energy something fierce.
Yeah.
So
what size pack do you have in that thing?
It's a 100 kilowatt.
Okay, you got a big one, yeah.
The other thing is that regardless of which trailer I'm towing, both of them are really air drag inefficient.
Right.
They're open trailers. The ATVs sit on top and have all kinds of craggly air drag, and so that's why it still takes me 40% just to get home. It's almost all downhill, but it still uses 40% capacity.
Yeah, I thought the Model X, Tesla was saying you shouldn't be towing things. Is that true?
The X is the only one that has had an actual towing rating. That's actually why I bought it, was because I was hoping that it would completely replace all my needs from my Toyota 4Runner.
Gotcha.
And it does to a large extent, as long as I'm not making long trips and going over the pass.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm very disappointed in most EV manufacturers regarding towing. They are just way too risk averse, covering their ass and just saying, don't tow with it, period. You know, I've towed my 3,000-pound tiny home in and out of car shows just to get a crowd effect with the iMeave. And the Tesla Model 3 gearbox produces and can tolerate 80% more, significantly more torque than the Ram ProMaster that we're putting it into. We derate the Model 3 drivetrain by 20% just to maintain traction as that big van goes uphill. Otherwise, we'd have traction control issues. And I put 3,800 pounds of cargo in the 6,000-pound van to do long distance range and hill climb testing, hill start testing using the stock Ram hill hold feature, which makes the motor overpower the brakes in order to start moving up a hill. So EV manufacturers' recommendations are just way too conservative.
The one challenge I've experienced so far and I'm still not quite sure what the right elements are that cause this, is I've already had to have both front half shafts replaced at about 6,000 miles. Oh. And so I don't know, it's some combination of the towing, the height, the adjustable ride height, because when I get near the lodge, I set it to a high ride height because I hit a very potholed gravel road, and the potholed gravel road. And I'm not sure which of those three really are shortening the lifespan, but the Tesla dealer actually, when I first reported the problem, asked me to run it in a lower ride height than standard and to see if that made a difference. And it did make a difference. It cut the knocking noise of the CV joints down, but it didn't quite eliminate it. So apparently they've had a ride height and CV joint problem with the Model X for many years.
Okay, CV joints are very susceptible to drive angle variations being out of spec, and if they're knocking, that means they're dimpled at the ends of their travel, and there's nothing that can be done but replace them.
Yeah, and it seemed to show up in town, but of course I'd been doing towing that same trailer frequently on weekends to the ski lodge throughout the summer.
On that subject of ride height, the Tesla's considering on the Model Y actually having a model with a different suspension system that increases the ride height to make it more comparable to other cross vehicles. What's the terminology?
Like crossover SUVs.
Yeah.
So Matt Smith, who was on the meeting tonight, he has put on a 1 3/4 inch lift kit on his Model 3. And that has made his drive up this craggly road. It's only 2 miles worth one way, but it's really rutted and potholed, and it was really quite the challenge to take the Model 3 up that road just because of its ride height. And so he put that lift on his Model 3 and has just loved it. But we'll see if that has, over time, if that causes challenges with his CV joint longevity.
Huh. Interesting. I see that the maximum GVWR of a Model X is 6,878 pounds. I ran the Ram ProMaster with the Model 3 drivetrain at 9,660 pounds. And it's doing over 100 miles in commercial delivery service every day, has been since March. So if any problems with excessive load on CVs were to arise, it's going to be in that van. So we will see.
I'm curious, is the weight proportional to the range? In other words, increased?
I don't think so. So by weight, the car is 5,000 pounds, 5,500, I think. The trailer loaded is maybe as much as 3,500, but I lose more than 2/3 of my range.
Yeah, but that's because your situation is different because of the extra air resistance, while Jay's is all contained in the van, and all he's doing is hauling the extra weight. That's what I was trying to find out.
Yeah, Mark, in my long distance testing, I don't have the numbers in front of me right now, but speed was much more significant than weight in highway driving. Around town, yeah, weight makes a difference.
And my aerodynamics really suck when I'm towing.
Right. Yeah, I'd be interested to find that out because, yeah.
I would need an entirely different kind of smooth enclosed trailer to try to see if I could suss that out.
Has anyone talked to folks at Atlas? Because one of the things it looks like they're doing in their development that their CEO says is they're really trying to focus on towing efficiency, so at much higher load factors.
I'm not aware of them.
Hey, Grace has some late breaking news from Olympia, hot off the presses. Grace, are you still here?
Yes, indeed. Yeah, this is some good news. I just wanted to share it. We had a couple of bills get passed today, and they're making progress. One of them is the sales tax exemption for electric bicycles. And it also now includes up to $200 of related equipment that you don't have to pay sales tax on. That passed through the House today. And the vote was, let's see if I got the right place. The vote was 57 yes, 39 no. So not, it wasn't unanimous, but it definitely had a good majority to it. So that's exciting because electric bikes, you know, should have the same benefits as electric cars, and we're selling so many of them now. Yay. So Corey, I'm sure you're glad to hear that. The other one is, what's that?
Well, go ahead. Sorry, I'll ask.
The second one is Senate Bill 5085, and that is the one that reduces the annual registration fee, the Eevee fee on electric motorcycles, cuts it down to $30 instead of $150. So that is pretty exciting that finally got through the full Senate, now going to the House. And the vote on that was 48-1. So that is really good news. That should definitely get somewhere.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I assume the electric motorcycle lobby is minuscule to non-existent. So those would simply be senators voting their conscience.
That is most likely the case, yes. Although our members certainly have been informed about it, and I hope that they have been vocal as well. So some good news, just wanted to share that. I'll be sending out some more updates.
Right, thank you very much. Well, as you heard from the background noise when I forgot to mute myself, there is activity going on in the shop and I should rejoin it. I have hours of work yet to do to earn my keep. So, night, y'all.
All right. Thanks, Jay.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
See you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.